ending of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has gotten lots of fans talking, and in response, producers Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver have given some clues about where it might be heading in future movies, and I'm here to give my thoughts. If you like what I do here and want to show your support, be sure to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things apes. Enjoy the video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Ape Nation, your #1 source for all things Planet of the Apes on YouTube. My name is Josh, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the ending of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, what it actually means, and where it could be leading in the next movie. Obviously, this video will contain major spoilers for the movie. For those who haven't seen it yet, you have been warned. In a recent interview with Cinemablend, producers Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver were asked about the ending of the film, and here's what they had to say. It's obviously clear that the virus has probably mutated itself out of existence, but the idea is that May and her companions that are referred to by Proximus in that dinner scene had experienced going out were in some ways canaries in a coal mine, but by the end, there's still some kind of, safety considerations and worry about the virus. Jaffa went on to say, well, I think it's going to be fun to see what those 300 years have done to shape human culture, just as we explored it in Kingdom and saw what it had done, how the Eagle clan evolved, if you will, with no knowledge of Caesar, and then how Proximus's world had evolved in a different direction after Caesar. So it's going to be fun to experiment and play in that sandbox. Amanda Silver added, and on top of that, you get to see where they have been and then what's going to happen next once they start to connect. So these different pockets of humans have been isolated from each other. What happens? How are they different from each other, these pockets, and what happens when they find each other? There's a lot of story, there's a lot of juice there. So first things first, I just want to talk about my general thoughts about humans still being around at the end of the movie, because I know this is a topic of conversation that some fans are a bit divided on. I know a handful of people are not exactly happy about it, don't think it's the right direction. That's totally fine. But a lot of people also think it's cool, think it's exciting, think it opens up a lot of possibilities. I fall into the latter camp, depending on how it is ultimately executed in the next movie or two. But ultimately, I really like the decision they went with having humans still be around, and it's actually pretty much what I assumed was going to be the case. I didn't know if we were going to actually see them, but going into the movie, my theory for May all along has been she's just from a pocket of humans that are out there that still have their intelligence. Maybe they somehow avoided the virus, I don't know, but that was my theory going in, and I kind of just expected that there were still going to be humans out there that knew how to speak and were intelligent. And so seeing them actually in the movie was something that I wasn't really that shocked that they exist. I was more just shocked the direction they actually went with them, with putting the satellites together and contacting other humans. But as for them just being around, I'm all for it. I think it's cool, I think it's exciting, and I think it opens up a lot of possibilities. Speaking of those possibilities, one thing that Amanda Silver and Rick Jaffa talked about is exploring human culture, and I think that kind of implies that humans might have a bit more of a role in the sequel. How much of a role, I don't know, and that's something I'm a little concerned about, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But as far as just exploring human culture and how that's evolved the same way that ape culture and how that evolved over the course of 300 years in Kingdom, I really like that. I think the idea of getting to see how these specific humans have stayed alive and what it means and what their way of life is like now is something that I'm really fascinated by, and it's not exactly something we've seen in a Planet of the Apes movie before. We've seen human groups in Dawn and War, but they were still pretty much similar to us, and I want to see how these humans are much different from us. How do they live their day to day? What separates them from the humans of old? So I'm curious to see what that actually means, if there is any difference. If not, hopefully it's a way that it can make this trilogy set itself apart with its portrayal of humans, especially as it seems like they're heading towards that real human versus ape war at some point. Maybe they won't, but it seems like they're heading that way. And so I'm really curious to see how they explore the continuing human culture and what makes it different there than it does today in our own time. So very fascinated by how that's going to go. Something that Amanda Silver also mentioned is humans from all over the world coming together that have never met each other before. What is that going to look like? And I think that's also really exciting. I think when she said that got me really interested in seeing what these humans are and how it's going to introduce introduce us to other humans, and what have the other humans been up to? What do they have? Do all these humans have weapons? What do they have at their disposal? What are they actually planning? Are they planning some kind of full-on takeover of the apes? Are they trying to just get together and go back somewhere else? Like, I'm very curious and I'm eager to see what exactly they have planned for the human story this time around, because I'm not exactly sure 100% what direction they're going, but I have some ideas. You know, they could be heading towards an atomic bomb being built. They could be heading towards just a full uprising against the ape civilization. There's so many different things they could do, and so I'm really curious to see what exactly that is and how different human factions from all over the world coming together plays into that. Now, something I mentioned a few minutes ago is how big of a role humans are going to have in the next movie or two. And this is something that gets me a little nervous, just because up to this point, apes have predominantly been the main characters of these movies. You look at Rise, Dawn, War, and now Kingdom, which is like 90% apes, 10% humans, if that. And the reason that people love these movies is because of the ape characters. The reason that I love these movies so much is because of the ape characters. Not to say there haven't been great human characters. I really like Malcolm. I think the Colonel's a great character. Obviously, Taylor from the original movie. I know some people don't like her, but I think May's a really interesting character that has a lot of potential. So there have been some really great human characters. I just don't want them to overload them, at least not in this trilogy. You know, I know that we're driving towards more of an ape-human co-protagonist thing, but I'd still like it to stay maybe like 70% ape, 30% human when it comes to how balanced they are. When they transition to that third trilogy, if they want to try a human protagonist then and have that be more human driven, I'm all about it. But for this particular story, I feels like it should still say predominantly ape driven. I just don't want to see them go a little too far when it comes to bringing the humans into the story. But I trust these storytellers. I trust Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver. It seems like they know what they're doing at this point, so I'm not too concerned. It is just something that when they talk about the human story coming into play, it does make me a little nervous. But for now, I trust them. If Wes Ball comes back, I trust him. So for now, I'm just really curious and excited to see what they actually do with the humans, regardless of how much they're actually in it. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I'm really wondering how this is all going to play out over the next two movies and how the human-ape conflict is going to go down and how this is all going to tie into that. So those were just some of my general thoughts on what was being said here and my thoughts on humans being around at the end. Like I said, I know there's some people that aren't really crazy about it, but for me, it all comes down to execution. How it was executed in this movie in terms of how it's set up, I'm all for. What it's really going to depend on is how it's explored in the next movie and the following movie, and if they can pull that off. But those are all my thoughts when it comes to the human side of things in this story and the next one, and how humans play into the ending of this movie. But I want to know, what do you guys think? Did you like the ending of this movie? Did you like the reveal that humans are still around? It's kind of been a divisive thing, not hugely divisive, but I've seen definitely some back and forth on it. So let me know your thoughts down below. And what are you expecting to see in the next movie? What do you want to see when it comes to the humans? Are you like me? Do you have any concern that there might be a little too much human story in the next one? Or are you mostly fine with it and you trust everyone involved and think it will be just fine? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for checking out today's video here on Ape Nation. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things apes. I'll catch you in the next one, so until then, goodbye.